Why Dhoni batted in ahead of Yuvraj in 2011 World Cup final. MS Dhoni advancing himself over Yuvraj Singh at a significant phase of the 2011 World Cup last against Sri Lanka is quite possibly the most captivating and discussed subjects in Indian cricket. Yuvraj had been in extraordinary structure all through the competition, with both bat and ball, yet as Paddy Upton, the South African mental moulding mentor working with the Indian group during that period, uncovers on the 10th commemoration of the World Cup win, the reasons were both cricketing and the chief's assurance to adapt to the situation to leave his own permanent blemish on the competition. Dhoni's unbeaten 91 off 79 balls, and the taking off 6 over long on off Nuwan Kulasekara that fixed wonder, is perhaps the most vital pictures in Indian cricket. For what reason was the move so huge? Yuvraj's inside and out abilities had assumed a tremendous part in India's entry to the last. Throughout the World Cup, the left-hander contributed 362 runs, 15 wickets, 4 man of the match grants, finishing in the player of the tournament honour. He had taken India home in a strained pursuit against three-time reigning champs Australia in the quarter last. Interestingly, Dhoni's job till then had rotated only around his authority and dynamic. His most noteworthy score going into the last was 34 against Ireland. In the event that the move had not turned out great, the captain could well have been the substitute for witch trackers. How was the choice reached? As per Upton, it was completely Dhoni's own decision. It was the ideal opportunity for the captain to assume liability and bring the group home. Dhoni was behind the full glass facade that is there at the Wankhede dressing room. Head coach Gary Kirsten was sitting outside and I was directly close to him. I recollect particularly, I heard a thump on the window. Gary and I pivoted a similar time. It was Dhoni. He demonstrated he was batting straight away. That was it. Communication through signing. Gary just gestured. There was no discussion between the two. Dhoni had settled on the choice that this was the ideal opportunity for him to stand up and do what Dhoni does, Upton reviewed. This record is as opposed to the portrayal in the biopic MS Dhoni, the untold story in which there's a concise discussion about the subject between the captain and the coach. At the point when the captain educates about his choice to advance himself, Kirsten says, Yuvi is padded up and ready. Yet, when Dhoni is tenacious, the South African understands there's no reason for deterring the move, and simply asks you sure. What was the rationale behind the move? India had lost Virender Sehwag and Sachin Tendulkar right off the bat chasing after Sri Lanka's 275. At the point when Virat Kohli got out after a steadying partnership with left-hander Gautam Gambhir, the match was yet to be determined. Muralitharan was seemingly the greatest danger for India, and Yuvraj experienced had his difficulties with the unbelievable off-spinner previously. Two left-handers at the crease in same time, in principle, might have wandered right into whatever Murli might have had planned. Dhoni, then again, is a right-hander and had frequently managed the off-spinner before. In addition, Murli, from 2008 to 2010, played 3 seasons for the Dhoni drove IPL establishment Chennai Super Kings. Sri Lankan captain Kumar Sangakkara would have been provoked to keep his ace in the hole down for Yuvraj. As it ended up, Murli just bowled 8 overs in spite of surrendering just 39 runs in them. Dhoni would do what he is the awesome the world, which is seeing a group home in a pursuit in the second innings in a white ball game. That second was set up for somebody like Dhoni, Upton reviewed. What might have been a portion of the theoretical purposes for the move. Yuvraj's not kidding disease, that became exposed not long after the competition, was starting to show itself around that time. Dhoni may have seen it in the changing area, and settled on a choice considering it. The captain himself expected to leave his engraving on the competition. Dhoni had conveyed nothing in the 7 games before the last. Yuvraj had done his touch, he had played his competition. He was done, he was spent. There are very few players in the world who are genuine, massive high-pressure players. Yuvraj Singh is not one of those, Dhoni is, Upton felt. What does it say about the connection between the captain and coach Kirsten? It showed that considerably under the most extreme tension, there was finished trust in one another's capacities and judgment. As Upton reviews, the second wasn't only a declaration to Dhoni's initiative and mental fortitude, it talked a great deal about his relationship with Gary. Gary didn't need to stand up and have a discussion with Dhoni to examine the benefits and negative marks of the move. It was only the two heads of the group being in total agreement. The thump on the glass, him highlighting himself, Gary's gesture, and it was finished. The meaning existing apart from everything else was not lost in the group's psychological molding mentor, even continuously. I do recollect unmistakably when Dhoni strolled down the steps, I turned to Gary and said, "Do you realize Dhoni is going there to fetch us the World Cup?" I had absolute conviction that Dhoni would come back with the trophy.